So
all right, so we're still trying to, bringing you pictures from the Electoral Commission, awaiting the official declaration of the presidential results. Sarah, as I was saying that instructively, the observer missions, the AU, the ECOWAS, and the Commonwealth observer missions, have congratulated the president-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, which indicates that they are okay with how the process has been so far. Yeah. They are very much confident that these are the results.
Yes.
And nothing is going to change.
Yes.
Reason why they have even gone ahead to congratulate the president. So the declaration is going to be a formality, which we all await.
A necessary formality, so to say. But I mean, in my interaction with some of the observer groups, they were confident in the democratic process so far that we've engaged in. They said, the Electoral Commission has readied itself to conduct a peaceful, credible and transparent election, and they also observed that there was no form of intimidation anywhere to compel people to vote in a particular manner. The election was freely conducted, and that's a plus to us. As for the pockets of violence, these are things that are expected, only that they wish it won't be escalated and degenerated into probably conflict or war. But I mean, on a large scale, generally, Ghana has performed creditably well.
I mean, certainly, Ghana is a shining example.
Yes.
Democracy, we've come to understand democracy, yes. And we are the envy of our West African neighbors, and even beyond West Africa, across the globe.
Yes.
Those who will come to monitor an election in Ghana know that the process is going to be peaceful. Okay. So, in their concluding remarks on that statement released by the AU Observer Mission, they commend the people of Ghana for their commitment to democratic principles, as evidenced by the peaceful conduct of the 7 December 2024 general elections. The overall electoral process, according to the statement, adhered to regional and international standards, reinforcing Ghana's democratic credentials, while the government and the people of Ghana and the Electoral Commission set high standards in management of electoral processes that other African Union member states should emulate. The mission offers some recommendations on areas that could be improved. So, I mean, the mission commending Ghana and also asking other African countries to emulate. We've seen a lot of African countries come to the Electoral Commission to learn and to be trained on how they are able to do some of these. The former Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Afarijan, is like a consultant of a sort to a lot of African countries, trying to teach them how they are able to conduct very peaceful and transparent elections.
They didn't only just congratulate the former president for being the winner in this particular contest. They also congratulated Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia of the NPP. They lauded his action of conceding defeat early so that nipped in the bag, so they also congratulated him for conceding defeat and also for going further to exhibit exemplary leadership in the country. And it goes to add up to his credential as a peaceful candidate and a Democrat. He believes in the true tenets of democracy.
So they are making some few recommendations, and they are talking about in terms of political parties and how they should be organized and structured. They are calling for inclusivity. Yeah. They are saying that we should adopt a more inclusive approach through internal capacity building and civic education to nominate and support candidates from underrepresented groups, particularly women, youth, and PWDs. That reminds me of the former Minister for Chieftaincy, Dr. Dana, who was visually impaired. Yeah. It's been a while I heard about him. Yeah.
Well, I have no idea where he could be today, but maybe we'll find out, yes.
Right, so those are some of the recommendations that they make. They talk about youth participation. They want Ghana to put in place measures to ensure that effective participation of youth who constitute most of the registered voters in order to encourage them to exercise their right to vote and select leaders of their choice. Yes. Some recommendations from the observer missions, monitoring the electoral process.
Yes, and as part of their recommendations too, I recall them saying that a lot of the voting or the polling stations were not accessible to persons with disability, and they would want going forward that improved or provisions made for persons with disability to be able to exercise their franchise, since they are all citizens of the country. Yeah.
Right, so we're still waiting for the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. Pictures there on your screens. Any moment from now, the Electoral Commissioner should be declaring the results. The last time I heard, they had results from 10 regions. I don't know if they've been able to collate.
Well, when the deputy chair in charge of operations, Mr. Samuel Tete, addressed the media earlier, he said they had 15 regions certified. So it was level 1.
Okay.
So he was sure that by 4:30 p.m., when the returning officer would be announcing who had won the election, they were sure they would have gotten all 16 regions. But even that, even without that particular region, the results they've received so far is glaring. It's showing a resounding victory for the NDC. So, I mean, nothing would change if the other region is pronounced later on. But we are also being told that during the EC's final declaration of the 2024 presidential election results, there will be a live feed of the President-elect John Mahama watching and following declaration, available on all TV networks on outside broadcast channels. So we would probably be seeing former President Mahama monitoring the declaration of the results, he being pronounced.
That's interesting. Yes. And that's going to be live?
Yes, it's going to be live and available on all outside broadcast channels.
Wow.
So I'm sure we'll also pick the feed live. Maybe we'll split the screen and have him.
And this will be the first time I've seen a president-elect, monitoring the declaration live. Also because of the time, the space between when results were collated by the NDC and when the Electoral Commission is coming to declare the results. It's giving them a lot of time to decide to, do a live broadcast.
This particular election has had a lot of first-time things. I mean, things that were never done. Yeah. I mean, unprecedented. I mean, the EC conducting a 3-hourly press conference to update the country about what's going on in terms of collation of results or how some events are being addressed either by the EC or the security agents. We also have, the National Security, Election Security Task Force also updating us regularly about how they are nibbling pockets of violence in the mud and arrests made and all that. So, this particular election is a demonstration that we've actually improved in our democratic processes, which used not to be.
Sarah, I can't wait to see the transition process start.
Yes.
And some of the drama that usually comes with transitions. And I also can see the new government, sworn into office and see exactly what they will be doing to address the concerns of many Ghanaians, especially the youth.
Yes. For them, bread and butter issues.
Certainly. Topical is the cost of living.
Yes.
Unemployment.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what the new government, will be doing. I also can't wait to see the appointments being made and who is going to be,
occupying which position. And we are also being told the NDC will be running a lean government. So you want to see which.
So he has promised to do 60 ministers.
Yes. Yeah. So which ministries will be merged into one, and who will be occupying them, and if those.
I know certainly the Ministry of Fisheries would be merged with the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
Under the former president Atta Mills. That was a structure.
Okay.
It was merged. Even under Mr. Mahama, it was the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture.
But I doubt that, because I'm told in the former NDC administration there was a university set up purposely for fisheries studies in Cape Coast. So I don't know whether they will rather merge it or they will make it a standalone ministries once we have a university allocated to that.
No, for me that's a very easy one to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Ministry of Fisheries, Aquaculture, merged with the Ministry of Agriculture, and then even under Mahama, we had the Ministry of Transport. Okay, now so the MPP created a Ministry of Aviation,
yes,
which they collapsed.
Yes.
So yes, there's going to be the Ministry of Transport.
Yes.
Yeah.
But speaking of transition, we heard the Vice President and the NPP presidential candidates assuring the entire nation of a peaceful transition. They cooperating with the new government or the incoming administration to ensure that there's a smooth transition process within the next 28 days or so, when the next administration will be sworn into office. So we are sure that the drama that has been associated with transition periods would probably not be what we would see this time around.
No, the drama is drama. Yes, there's going to be cooperation, yes, but we're going to be hearing a lot of stories.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of stories. Oh, this person, did this, the other person did that. We are not getting some documents from here, there, and what have you. The beauty of it for some of us, maybe students of Ghanaian politics, you're very much interested. You want to know how the whole process will go. So.
But speaking of what you want to see in the next couple of months when the new administration is sworn into office, key on the agenda is to recover all loots that they allege has been ongoing in this particular administration, because the country as it is now is bankrupt. If they don't recover those loots, they won't be able to undertake a number of developmental projects. So those are the things we are going to be seeing. We are going to be seeing a lot of courts people summoned at the court or summoned to the court to ensure that if there's proof of any money looted, they will be made to pay or face the full rigors of the law. So I'm sure that within the next few months, or the next NDC's administration will be seeing a lot of, some would say witch hunting, but if the OSP proves that there's a case against you, would that be classified as witch hunting?
I mean, it usually depends on who is feeling the heat,
yes,
and how they want to describe what's happening.
Yes.
So I mean, those are, political, issues.
But do you think the youth, as we see today, I mean, the results we are seeing today is a testament of the how fed up the youth are. And I mean, bread and butter issues have always been a concern for the youth. I mean, do you think that the youth will be patient enough for the NDC to probably, I mean, in its agenda, it says they want to reset the economy. Do you think they will be patient enough in this resetting process?
I mean, certainly. As you may be aware already, we have some few economic challenges. And so certainly the economy would have to rebound.
Yes.
So the process of restoring macroeconomic stability must begin. Then we begin to enjoy the dividends of that particular economic recovery. As we speak, inflation is still high.
Yes.
The exchange rate's very high, and particularly the exchange rate affects a lot of things. It's one of the reasons why the cost of living is high. It is one of the factors pushing inflation.
Okay.
So we talk about imported inflation. We also talk about food inflation, and food inflation also partly driven by the exchange rate, because fuel is imported in dollars.
Okay.
And so that has an effect on the pricing at the pump. Okay. Fuel prices or crude oil prices are beginning to come down on the international market, around $60 per barrel.
Is it reflecting at the pump?
The reason it is not reflecting is because the exchange rate is still high.
Okay.
And because you need dollars to buy crude, and because the rate is high, it affects the price at the pump. So some of these things, before the economy, rebounds, some of these things must be dealt with. Then we'll begin to enjoy the dividends thereof. So at this point, answering your question, will the youth be patient? They will have no option but to be patient for the economy to rebound. Already, we've seen some gains. We've seen some gains. Inflation, even though in the last couple of months, is gone up, but generally inflation has trended down. Okay. Somewhere in 2022, we're doing 54.2% of inflation. We are now in the regions of 23.3%.
Okay.
So we're seeing the economy see some level of a rebound, especially because we are done with the debt exchange
context. That context was missing. In other words, you're making fun of the farmer who, when he gets those in Kitten will mean the world to him.
So let me tell you
at
something.
a time that feed is expensive.
Yeah.
At a time that getting those chicks is also very expensive.
When a poultry industry had been destroyed.
Yes.
See,
you're not telling them that your fertility proposal for development is this or that.
Day-old chicks cost more than 20 Ghana cedis. One. It costs more than 20.
Guys, there's something I need to do because I've just been told that Wale Wale is in.
Okay.
And Wale Wale is important, obviously, because this is the home constituency of Bawumia. And Prof, I want to bring you in here when I pull this up. And this is the Northeast region. And this is Wale Wale. So it's blue. So it's good news. It's good news, at least at the Wale Wale constituency in 2024, when it comes to the parliamentary, the NPP candidate there had won. And this candidate himself, we know the controversy around the contest that went in there internally. But the presidential is where I want to focus, and then I'll come to Prof to give me a sense of what you make of this, and I hope we have the presidential. We do. So this is Dr. Bawumia's home constituency. This here is Dr. Bawumia coming in with 41,273 votes in his home constituency. And I'm going to circle that for you, for those of you watching us on television. But if you're on the radio, Bawumia wins his home constituency with 41,273. That is 61.9%. John Dramani Mahama comes in with 24,673. That is 37%. It doesn't make too much sense until you begin to put in the context of 2020. Has he, increases votes, or is it reducing the votes? If you look at what is happening across the country, the expectation is that it should drop, right? From what Nana Addo got till now. If he improves it, that would be actually a very interesting point. But let's look at what really happened. And I'm going to hold that Wale here. And I'm going to come to presidential 2020.
He improves.
He's improved. He's improved the actual votes there.
He improves
significantly. So in 2020, Nana Addo came in with 32,972. Now he is at 41,000.
Except that turnout was lower.
Yes. Turnout then in 2020 was 85.5%. 85.5% was huge.
True.
It's way above the national average.
Let's look at the turnout for this year. Let's look at the turnout for this year.
The turnout for this year
70
is 78. It's still high though, because again,
across the country is going to be higher than the national average.
So you can see that people tend out to vote for him, Dr. Bawumia.
Yeah.
In his hometown.
In his hometown.
Yeah.
But what does it say, Prof?
So I think basically it's all about the level of campaign that they mounted there and the controversy that surrounded that particular seat. So it actually gave them a lot of attention, and the people were very loud. All the MPP guys were there and said, this is the home ground of our candidate. Even if he's losing everywhere, he has to win here.
Yeah.
You don't have to disappoint him. So you have to lead the charge for the rest of the country to vote for them. So there was a lot of campaign there. There was, in spite of all the troubles, they had to go and find a way to forge unity between the candidate who has lost, Bawumia's sister, and then Bawumia's special aide, Kabiru. So it was a very tight thing. But they were able to preach unity. They were able to get people that they had expected to speak to them. And they were able to do a lot of prompting on the election day. So I think, standing the fact that the voter turnout was very low compared to the previous elections, you still see that Bawumia has been able to do. I think it's about 10% improvement from what Nana Addo did. And not just there. If you look at his performance across almost the 57 constituencies in the 5 northern regions, he has improved a little bit compared to what Nana Addo got in 2020. Even though in most of them, Mahama were able to win at the national level. So I think it was just a good support that they had.
But except that the NDC's margin of victory in these regions is more. Yeah. For instance, in the northern region, is more than it was in 2020. And that's an indication that he is underperformed compared to Akufo-Addo.
At the moment, is a turn of Ghana Union Movement rep endorsing the Form 13 on behalf of his party. Thank you very much.
shot of John Dramani Mahama's entire family seated, all dressed in white. Dressed in white, waiting for the man himself to come out, we believe, in his own white attire. And they will drive to the campaign office where we're expecting that he will be addressing the nation post the declaration of the official results by the Electoral Commission chairperson. And from what I'm told in my ear, while I'm doing this, the television they have on is us.
Why didn't that?
The television they have
Prof
on.
was just whispering that
They are watching you.
Yes.
The television they have on is us. And so, yes, I want to wave at them. If they can wave back, then we know they're indeed watching us.
I'm not hearing.
But they can see that we are waving at them. Yes, somebody's trying to respond. Yes, we're trying to wave at you. And that is the president-elect and his family. Well, he's not there himself, but he will join the pretty show. Oh, he's there. This side of mine. I can see that we were giving you a wave, President-elect. Oh, he's there. You know, the distance of the monitor for me is one that I'm struggling to see. But that's him and his wife seated, watching all this unfold. And congratulations, I guess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have him on the phone, so I guess this is the closest we can get. Closest we can get to saying yes. Congratulations to him and the family. And I remember a similar shot I believe it was in 2016, was it? When Akufo-Addo and his family were also in the room watching Joy News and jubilating. But this a real beautiful shot of John Dramani Mahama and the entire family seated there. That's the top right corner there of the screen, watching the Joy News channel, waiting finally for him to now mount that stage and deliver his acceptance speech to the rest of the country. It's going to be a big moment for him. And that speech is one that I'm pretty sure his speech writers either have finished writing or possibly put in the final touches to. But this is a very emotional moment, I believe, for a lot of people who will be watching this right now, having gone out to vote for him. There's a video I saw of a man who, before he cast his ballot, was screaming at the ballot paper, determined to punish the MPP. I don't know if anybody has seen it. It's quite a viral video. And then he finally goes in there. He actually hops, jumps, and he takes his phone. A police officer tries to get a phone, and he talks them off, goes in there, and does the voting. And something he said that was interesting. We're talking about the price of soap. And so the price of soap is now 9 cedis. And for him, that is why he was going to vote for John Dramani Mahama, right? And we're delighted that we can bring you these shots live from the residence of...
Sofa, check. Blanket, check. Hot brew, check. Another hot brew, check. 100% full fibre broadband, check. Snuggle up with our better net from just £24 per month.
I become anxious.
Yeah.
You told us 4:30. You had a long time.
And you know, when they were saying 4:30, I cringed a bit.
Oh,
because often in these matters, knowing the heat is his own,
But Evans,
it can be a bit
everything has
challenging.
come now.
I mean, you have to give Jim Mensah some credit. Also because of the lessons of 2020.
True.
And the challenges in the results they announced that they had to change a few things.
True.
You need to be absolutely sure. Yes, you said 4:30, but if you are not absolutely sure, I'd rather you wait until you are.
At least update
before,
us.
No,
Tell us at 4:30. We need 2 more hours. Tell us at 4:30. We'll do it now at 7 o'clock. Because John Dramani Mahama announced 7 o'clock. So if by 7 o'clock you are not finished with your declaration, what do you expect him to say?
At least now, the evidence you have and some of the regional statement of poll doesn't include all constituencies. So that in itself would have been something you say, but you said you're doing a regional coalition center but you have indicated you're coming up because you have them. So it means that you're coming ahead, that based on this number of constituencies that I have, based on this number that I have from the Greater Accra region minus these constituencies, it is statistically impossible. So you're going ahead to declare. When you declare, the figures, you put the figures out, but the official figures will come subsequently.
Are we live at is this National Coalition Center?
Yeah, there's a National Coalition Center you see in your top left corner from the EC's
It means that the results are being certified by Omane Boamah now.
signing.
Yes, he's signing.
And let's look, we can focus on that shot for a second because that in itself tells a story. That's a shot there of Dr. Omane Boamah, who we believe is now scrutinizing before he signs, or he may have done it already and just simply appending his signature to that particular document. And he is the party's director of elections.
Yes.
And he had supervised the entire process leading to now. He's looking at it, he's signing. And here's the beauty of this. Whilst we show this on television, John Dramani Mahama is seated in the hall of his residence and is watching, confidently knowing that this is being signed and finally that will be declared. If he wasn't sure and he possibly can't get on the phone to check, but I'm waiting to go and deliver my acceptance speech. What is happening? Where he can watch it on Jordan instead to do this. And let's give Omane Boamah some credit too.
Yeah.
It takes a man of steel to still accept that responsibility to put in place and run the elections, especially the election day architecture for the coalition. When for 2 consecutive elections, he has been in charge of the process and the process had not gone as well as everybody else had expected with the NDC. And anybody remember, he was one of the most vilified within the NDC itself.
Yeah.
True.
He was attacked. People were questioning John Mahama, why do you keep trusting this gentleman to handle a matter that clearly he's shown that he could not manage?
And he was director of elections.
Yeah.
Not somehow difficulties with that.
Yeah, with that. Clearly, JM saw something in him. The law of second chances, right? Even this is a third chance. But he pulled it off. The lessons...
There were NDC people on social media who were telling him accept any incompetence, any difficulty, any lackadaisical attitude when it comes to the collation of results. Indeed, they were telling them that that excuse and there were actions that they complained of in 2016 and 2020 cannot be repeated. They were very vociferous on that. They said there were no second chances in this case.
And he's done now. I believe he's done signing. He's taken his seat, and another of the representatives of the other parties are also now looking at the document. And this is your official declaration sheet that all the party reps at the National Coalition Center must sign before Jim Mensah can declare it. As we've always said, if you also now looking at the document, and this is the official declaration sheet that all the party reps at the National Coalition Center must sign before Jim Mensah can declare it. As we've always said, if you refuse to sign, it doesn't invalidate the results. Jim Mensah can still go ahead and do it, but it is always better when it's all signed and checked before it goes. But back to the point, and probably I want to bring it back in. Just a comment on Dr. Omane Boamah and JM's confidence that he reposed the name, in spite of the challenges that, of course, he's had with election day architecture and machinery that, of course, he needed. Because you cannot fly blind on election day. And then the challenges with putting your own pink sheets together, transmitting it to your own office and all. JM stuck with him, and he's repaid that faith. That loyalty has been repaid.
Yeah, so I think it's about learning the mistakes that you have made in your attempt to succeed. So it's often said that those who have succeeded might have failed at a point in their lives. So he knew most of the challenges that the party faced in 2016 and 2020 and might have learned a lot of lessons from it. So learning from the lessons of the past gave him the kind of superior strategy that he was able to put together with the NDC team. But also, JM himself has been given a second chance in his party to lead. So it has to do with the level of confidence that you have in somebody's ability to deliver. No matter the level of defeat that they had in 2016 and 2020, they still believe that he's the best person to deliver victory for the party. And he also believe that given the kind of lessons and experiences that Dr. Omane Boamah might have gone through, he's better placed to understand the electoral dynamics and the challenges of the NDC as a party and to be able to come together with a strategy that is superior and that can defeat that of the NDC. So I think it's about the second chances, but also given the fact that you learn from your own mistakes, and based on the mistakes that you have made in the past, you should be able to correct them when you are given the third opportunity.
Yeah,
and I think he didn't disappoint.
He did not disappoint. And we've said, in terms of the strategy and who was superior, clearly his was superior in terms of the election day strategy that they deployed. And that purely is why we've seen this. And what they put out shortly after, and they were the first to share their results with everybody else. And John Dramani Mahama himself went there with him. You see him seated, showing him, you know, what the picture is across the country. It's panning out exactly the way the coalition. Yes, you have this smile, broad smile on your face.
You know, it was interesting, right? When the NPP's director of campaign communications spoke for the first time in 2020, the NPP was telling us the results just like the NDC is doing this time around. But the NPP said we're waiting for the EC. They know they are winning. What's the name? Miracles.
Miracles.
Yeah, we know we are winning, but we are waiting for the EC. We are a responsible party. We will not go ahead of the Electoral Commission, which was in direct contrast to what happened in the year 2020. Indeed, in the year 2020, by early morning, the NPP had concluded, and they were talking about the difficulties they had with parliamentary. I hope you get the point.
Yeah.
In fact, they have told everybody that that's where the slight challenge may be, and so they are going ahead with that. But this year, I've not seen a single screenshot from the collation center of the NPP.
I guess now we know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they saw this very early.
Certainly.
Very, very early.
Certainly.
And they abandoned the press center where they were supposed to be doing the press conferences.
The communications place.
When they started playing, I remember what happened at Asin North by-election. I think the same strategy, though they were quiet, they won't share the results they have, they are waiting for the EC. I think the same tactics was being played at the national level. Then I knew that it wasn't
going well.
So definitely, you see it in their face, obviously. And even the pages that you have people who are NDC and NPP members, the kind of jokes and arguments that they put out there. So those are just informal ways to understand that things wasn't going well. And they had also collated, just like the NDC. But because it wasn't good, they were very quiet about it.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, there are two shots on your screen you should be paying attention to. Forget about us. Just look at your top left, top right. Top right corner, you see John Dramani Mahama and his entire family seated there, and they're waiting for, and that's the shot there I'm talking about, waiting for Jean Mensah to officially declare the results. And we know what the results will be already. You know that the vice president has already conceded defeat, but you're waiting formally for that formal declaration. That's what the Constitution says must happen before you can now begin to call yourself formally the president-elect. But of course, once the other side have conceded, you don't have to wait anymore. But the formal thing must happen. It's just a formality that you're waiting for. Right after this, they will be, the former president, who is now the president-elect, will be heading to the podium that has already been set up and will be delivering an acceptance speech. We expect this to be one very
blockbuster drama streaming this winter.
The CIA sends us out into the world to behave in entirely unhealthy, dangerous ways. Whatever it takes.
Nothing is personal. A brand new series, The Agency. Stream now, only on Paramount Plus.
Shop Cartier online and in our showrooms at Watches of Switzerland this Christmas.
When he finally delivers.
And you know, 2016, around this time, there were a lot of talk and conversations and a call on him to actually concede defeat.
Yeah. That was a difficult night for him.
Yeah.
That was a difficult, and he had just witnessed, and very important point, he is the only presidential